would you say were the biggest challenges in making this film?
I can think of two biggest challenges. One is the water. Uh, the second week I got into shooting the water scenes, I realized why most of the water movies, if not all of them, go landslide in the budget and the shooting schedule. It's really hard. When you're in a big quantity of water, when you're not grounded, things floating on you is very hard to grasp the images. And then you worry about you don't have enough coverages, and you start to get panic. That's very difficult. And in the editing part, I think the ending, the third act, is really, really challenging. How do I put the rock under audience feet without having them fall or getting angry or them snap out of the movie? That I struggled for nearly a year and a half.
Was it very difficult to find the right actor for Pi?
It's a matter of luck. If you're not finding it forever, then it's really difficult. But we were lucky. Like 3 months into it, we found Suraj Sharma out of 3,000 Indian kids. And we narrowed down to 12 of them. And I meet them, and Suraj, as soon as I saw him, the movie started to play in my head. And I tested him. It just happened that, luckily, he's an incredible talent. So we got pretty lucky on that. It's not too difficult.
Did you know India before, and how well do you know India now?
Before this project, I didn't know much about India, except that's where Buddhists come from. That's in my culture. India is always an ideal land, spiritual. And then basically from screen and books, I learned about them, not first-person experience. Then once I start to take on the project, I start to travel there, visiting culture sites, experience some lives, and particularly temples and zoos. I went to visit a lot in the southern part of India. Then I have a taste of it. I think the religious part strikes me the most because it's related to this film. And I went back quite a few times, and including shooting the movie. And I love the people who work there. I had some of the best crew in India. A great time there.
Are you a religious man?
I used to. I was brought up as a Christian by my mother. Went to church every Sunday. And I prayed 4 times a day. Until I was 14, I started to think about why I did this. And then I stopped. And then as a Chinese, I'm very soaked into Buddhism and Taoism. So that's something else. Neither one talk about deity. But that's thinking practice. I don't practice spirituality anymore.
Would you say Life of Pi is a religious film?
No, I think it's a movie not about religion, but about God, which is more abstract than religion. It doesn't associate necessarily with other people or a certain culture or a certain affiliation. There's no social structure or morality. It's just God in the pretty pure and abstract sense. It's harder to grasp. But then I encourage people, including myself, to take a leap of faith after all the wanderings and reasonings. I think the spirituality, the part that it's hard for us to believe, that don't provide necessary evidence scientifically, that is still a big part of our existence.
So Life of Pi could well be one of the biggest movies of this year. What other big movies have you enjoyed personally this year?
Nothing.
Have
I've
you
been
seen
so
the
busy.
Avengers?
No. Yeah, that's the only movie I saw, Avengers. I saw it because it's a huge hit, and also it has the Hulk in it. So I'll just take a look how they did the Hulk.
And how did you like it?
Oh, I like it. It's very enjoyable. And I thought maybe I gave too much thought about the Hulk on my own part.
What's next for you?
Nothing. It hasn't showed. I don't have a plan. I'm waiting for the next thing that grabs me. In the meantime, I'm promoting the movie. make my act of making this movie reasonable to the world. And then if nothing comes up, I take a break. If something come up, I have the next project.
So last question, and we always ask it at the end of the interview, what are your favorite movies of all time?
Of all time? There's so many. It's very hard to do it.
Do you have any
I would say Bergman's Persona. Probably, if just do it easily.
And do you remember the first movie that you've seen in a movie theater?
It's some ghost movie that scared the crap out of me. I had nightmare for many, many years as I grew up. It was a ghost story. I didn't remember the whole thing. That's something deep imprinted. It's a Japanese ghost story. That's very scary. That's one of the early impression about movie. But I always loved watching movies.
So you never shoot a horror movie?
That'd be very difficult.